Hi, my name is Anthony Bajarov, and this is my speech on the death penalty. Picture this: you are accused of a crime you didn't do. You find yourself sitting in a courtroom and letting other people determine your fate. You are sentenced to death for a crime you didn't commit. No prison, just death. Can you imagine? You're just innocent and you're going to die anyway. What if I mentioned that this has happened before? What if I told you it could happen to you? Not to you, Miss Hockley, though. Um, Not to anyone that's listening to this, because hopefully not. But it has happened to people. It's not a joke. The death penalty is also known as capital punishment and it has existed in the country for centuries. Some insist it is necessary for justice, but after you know everything about how the death penalty works, you realize it should be eliminated. The death penalty leads to the innocent being executed. For a minute, let's consider how our justice system operates. It's not perfect. We all screw things up. Someone could plead or confess to something they didn't do. Witnesses can make a mistake about who they saw while witnessing a crime. Investigators, like everyone else, have a bias that at times can lead them toward a frame that allows them to look closer at somebody who may have not actually committed the crime. In some cases, police have been able to coax people into confessing to crimes they didn't commit. Witnesses have been sure they saw those suspected that have committed the crime, only to discover that they were wrong. Mistakes will always be made. We have had to understand that some criminals on the death row were truly innocent because of new evidence, such as DNA tests. Many have died from the death penalty after waiting a long time for their death, and the justice system has proven them innocent. Should they have been sentenced to life imprisonment with no parole, their sentence should have been made modified, but there was nothing about them because they were executed. It is irreversible. Executions should be abolished because they will happen again. The death penalty is unequally applied. Not all criminals are sentenced the same. Study after study has shown that your race, income, and location contribute to whether you will earn a life sentence as well as one which is heavier at this juncture of the less fortunate. You are less likely to be able to afford a top defense lawyer if you don't have money. Public defenders tackle so many cases and don't have the resources of private attorneys. You are also more likely to receive a death sentence if you come from a lower economic area. Studies have also demonstrated that if the victim of your crime is a certain race, you are more likely to be sentenced to death. Sorry. Than if he was another race. How is that fair? Everyone must have equal access in the eyes of justice. Taking a life as punishment of another life must be blind to race, to gender, financial history. But death penalty punishments are determined by these and other aspects of life. Cheaters don't cheat death. Pro-death penalty people will counter that executions deter crime. The idea behind it is that being aware that you are capable of being killed if you do something and you commit a crime like murder, you'll be less likely to commit a death by committing a crime. Research has demonstrated that to be not sure, states with the death penalty and states without have very similar crime rates. Some states that don't even have the death penalty have a lower crime rate than death penalty states. Why? Many crimes, such as murder, are rooted in passion, anger, fear. Those who kill out of emotion, in this state of psychological and emotional reaction, are not thinking about the punishment. At the moment of committing the crime, some believe that they will not be caught by authorities. Few people consider the crime they are going to be apprehended for. Nobody thinks that they will get caught, otherwise they would never commit the crime. No one choosing to commit a crime is contemplating the execution their crime will produce. If the death penalty does not prevent crime, then it is not doing its job. It costs more to execute someone than to keep them in jail forever. Most people, when they think about life without parole versus the death penalty, tend to say it costs more to send someone on a life sentence in prison than execute them. That is incorrect. Those cases end in a death sentence after years of trials and appeals. Years. A lot of years. Death penalty cases are a lot longer because of so much that occur during these trials. So the person is sentenced properly. A person can spend longer waiting on death row, awaiting their execution, than they would if they were sentenced to life. With jury selection, trials, appeals, and more, death penalty cases cost more than regular cases. More spending leads to more money. So how much more does it cost? Some states find that it's much more expensive to sentence someone to death than to prison. Taxpayers' money is basically wasted on a system riddled with mistakes. Killing people in general and during the executions is immoral. When you think of justice, you think of fairness and everyone's rights having been defended. When it is allowed for the government to take your life as a punishment, what does that say about their own system? Some people believe killing another person is immoral, and it's not something our justice system can do. Others think that ending a life isn't the crime. We believe in rehabilitating and deterring future crime, right? So if we execute, why does that go against that? The individual is free to have their own convictions, but as a result may believe that the death penalty is immoral. Victims' families want closure. Yes, I agree with you people who see horrible crime Yes, I agree with you people who see horrible crime want that is possible to be punished. But the death penalty takes years of appeals to the state and a series of procedures to protect and prevent those in power from being executed. Some death row inmates had their own cases heard decades or even weeks before. If they're sentenced to life without parole, at least their families can find closure and get moving on with their lives. Moving away from the death penalty. There are several reasons why the death penalty should be abolished. Innocent people will be put to death. People who live in poverty or select areas have no chance to fight back. Not only does the death penalty not prevent crime, it also costs more than imprisoning a wrongful convicted person for life. Understanding some of these facts helps me to identify reasons for holding on to the death penalty. But then you must question whether it's still worth risking the death of a second innocent person. Our justice system ought to be accurate, fair, and created to protect us. And none of these are things that the death penalty does. Death row sentences are overturned when they're not justified. Blacks get more death sentences than whites, and it doesn't deter crime. Is such a flawed system worth having the power of life or death over citizens? I don't think so. As a nation, it is time we stop killing as punishment. Just because we stop killing people doesn't mean we're going to abandon the death penalty. It simply means we're going to do well in any case in future. That is, no system of justice will ever be perfect, but we can do better than the death penalty. The deaths are too deadly. The injustice is permanent. And then we have the facts to prove it. So in conclusion, I don't believe that we should have death penalty. But when it is proven that they have caused the murders, they have caused all this, and there's evidence of it, then it is fair. But it is too broad to have somebody accused of murder and they don't have the evidence of it. That is my speech. Thank you for this opportunity, Miss Ockley, and hope I'm saying your name right. I really never practiced it. Have a good rest of your day, week, whenever you're seeing this, and thank you.